Good morning.
Hi. We're getting ready to turn our live on this morning, and Elizabeth usually can reach across, but now that she's got a little pregnancy belly.
Yeah, I didn't fit. So we're laughing about it.
We're laughing.
Hi.
Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
So, yeah, we are back in the kitchen with Cooking with Carmel. I am Stephanie.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are with Carmel Kitchen, and we like to come to you every Tuesday and show you yummy ways and how you can use your caramel sauce, because that's the #1 question we get every time at an event is, what do I do with this? So we're here to help you solve that problem.
Yes, we are.
And today we've got a very yummy, delicious salted caramel creme brulee, and it'll be a perfect dessert if you're having your mom over, or if you are a mom and you want to just have a special dinner with your family for this weekend coming up. So it's great because you can make it ahead up to 4 or 5 days in advance and have it just ready, and you just burn the sugar on top right before serving. So that's what we're going to make today, and
yum.
Yeah, so we're just going to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got 3 cups of heavy cream, and I'm just going to pour that into my saucepan. And in with that, I'm going to do a pinch of sugar, pinch of sugar, a pinch of salt. We do like a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just add a little sugar, a little salt to that. I got sugar on my brain. And then I have a vanilla bean that I'm going to split in half, and I'm going to scrape the seeds out, and I'm going to add the seeds and the bean pod to the cream mixture, and we're going to let that get nice and hot till it's about scalding. You don't want it to fully come to a boil, but we're going to cook it until it starts to form bubbles, little bubbles along the edges of the pot. So I'm going to just open this up, and we'll scrape out the seed pod.
Perfect. And you can sign up for Stephanie's weekly recipes on our website at carmelkitchen.com. She sends out a new recipe every Monday, and then we go over it on Tuesdays.
Okay, so I just turned my heat on that, and I'm going to take a knife, a butter knife, and I'm kind of just opening up the seed pod, and I'm going to just scrape out those yummy seeds. So you're going to have little specks of vanilla bean seeds. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So I'll just kind of scrape that in there, and then I'll do the other side here.
And you're going to put the whole bean in there too?
Yeah, get the whole bean in there too. And I keep my vanilla beans because you can use them. I mean, there's like little beans that just keep on giving. My seed pods, I have a thing of vanilla sugar at home that I make. Sometimes there's certain recipes that'll specifically call for like a vanilla sugar, and you can absolutely do that with this too. But I just throw in I rinse off my beans, and I let them dry out again, and then I throw them into this little container of just regular sugar that I have, and it turns it into this vanilla flavored sugar. And yeah, you knew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just throw it in?
Yeah, you just throw it in. Get in there. So there's my little bean pot, or my seeds, and then I'll actually cut this in half so it can float around a little easier in there. And so I'm just gonna stick those in my pot as well, and then I'm just gonna give it a nice little stir to make sure that it's fully incorporated. And we're just gonna let this cook until it gets to the scalding. You don't want it to scorch the bottom, but you want it to be nice and hot. So I'm just going to let it do its thing there, and oops, there's a nice little chunk of little vanilla beans. You don't want to
miss out
out on those.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff right there.
Yeah, and if you want to go back and watch any of our previous Cooking with Carmel episodes, you can find us on YouTube and Rumble. And also, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you can follow us on Instagram as well.
You don't follow us on Instagram? You can follow us on Instagram?
I said if you don't. You can.
Oh, you can? Oh,
yeah.
If you don't.
Yeah. If you don't, you can.
You can?
Yeah.
Here we go.
We invite you to follow us on Instagram as well, because we're on Facebook right now.
Is it Friday yet?
Yeah. It's my Friday.
Here you go.
Yeah.
That's why I'm feeling this way, because it's your Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a medium-sized bowl here, and I've got 8 eggs that I'm going to separate. See how I don't want to do this. I'm going to separate, and I only want the egg yolks. So I'm going to put the egg yolks in my bowl, and I'm going to save my egg whites, and maybe I'll make meringues or something with it. Wait, oop, wrong one. Here we go.
Only on live.
Only on live.
Yeah.
Seriously. I think I had nightmares about this last night too. I'm like, I'm going to butcher the eggs. They're going to go everywhere. What do? I drop them.
Yeah, she's got that hard part. I've got the easy part. I'm just gonna stand here and talk to you guys and watch her.
You have to see me make a mess of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right. We can laugh together.
Or you can laugh at me. You know, that works too. You know, I've got thick skin.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't got your reviews in yet, get your reviews in for next week. We give away caramel every week. Get your reviews in. You can put reviews in on Google, on our Facebook page, or our website at caramelkitchen.com. You can leave multiple reviews and get multiple entries that way.
Yep. I mean, if you're in there giving a review, you might as well give one for every flavor, and you've got lots of chances to win. Okay. This is the messy part of don't play with your food.
Yeah. It's funny if my daughter is sitting with me and we come across one of our Facebook videos, like on my Facebook feed, and she'll be like, I wasn't there for that. You know, like
she's all upset.
Yeah, like you were in school.
You should have pulled me out.
Yeah, yeah. I shouldn't have to go to school on Facebook Live days.
That's what my daughter says too. She's like, Mom, are you sure you don't need help?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're in school. I'm sure we'll have lots of help this summer.
Yeah, summertime.
When school's out.
It's like, I could have been doing that, Mom.
Okay, well, I'm just going to throw that in there and call it good. Okay, I'm going to go put these in sync and I'll be right back.
Perfect. So, for those of you that are new to Caramel Kitchen, just want to let you know that our sauces are all natural. We don't use any preservatives. There's no nuts in our corn syrup. There's no gluten. And we also don't use any corn syrups. We use 5 simple ingredients to make our caramel sauce. And if you know anybody that's allergic to corn, they can't have a lot of sweets because everybody uses corn syrup to sweeten their stuff. We don't. So you can use ours. And if you know someone that's allergic to nuts, they can still have our caramel sauce because we don't use nuts anywhere near our facility.
I don't. You might see us use nuts here when we're doing cooking for you, but they are not in our shop.
Yeah, this is not where we make our caramel.
Okay, so this is already heating up pretty good. I didn't know how long it was going to take on my little, what's it called?
It's an industrial
induction cooker. So we're just going to move right along here. Okay, so I've got my 8 eggs in my bowl, and in here I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of sugar, and I'm going to add a 1/3 cup of our caramel sauce. And this is salted caramel. I thought about using espresso caramel. Because I think that would be delicious in this creme brulee as well. But my kids are more purists, and I thought, well, this is just an easy one. If you don't know who's coming for dinner and what their tastes are, this is pretty foolproof. And
yeah, you can never go wrong with salted caramel. That's everybody's favorite. So
right. Okay, so that's about a 1/3 cup right there. And we're just going to put this in with our eggs and our sugar, and then we're going to whisk it until it's lighter in color and well blended. So let me just get the very last of that because we want all the goodness in it. Okay. I'm just going to stir this as I go just to keep it from scorching the bottom. But as you can see, this is a pretty fast recipe. It doesn't, creme brulee can sound pretty intimidating, but it's very simple ingredients, and it doesn't take that long to actually mix together. So I'm just whisking it all together and getting it all nice and incorporated. Does my chin jiggle when I do this?
I don't know, mine probably does just watching you do it.
I feel like every part of me is jiggling right now. I'm like, oh, the things you don't think about when you're,
Right?
What recipe am I going to do on live? Okay,
Yeah.
nothing that makes my fat jiggle, please.
Yeah, you're worried about the eggs.
What else is getting scrambled here? Okay. All right. Whew. Okay. So, moving right along. Our cream is almost ready, so that does not take long at all, you guys. So I'm going to go get my next, like a little scooper to scoop it in. Although, you know what, I'll just use this. Never mind. Change my mind. I have everything I need right here. Okay, so I'm just going to, it's hard to tell, but what I'm looking for is, I'm not looking for bubbles to necessarily come out of the middle of the pot. I'm looking for bubbles to start forming right around the edges of the pot. And I'm starting to see it wanting to bubble. You know how you can see some movement underneath the surface, but it's not quite there yet, but it's very, very close. So I'm just gonna stir that for a minute more. And basically you just sit there and wait for your cream to boil.
Yeah.
And get an arm workout.
Yeah. So speaking of our caramel sauce, right now we have 8 different flavors because we still have 2 of our seasonal flavors. We've got pumpkin spice and Irish cream on top of our salted, bourbon, chocolate, cinnamon, vanilla, espresso, and chipotle. And with every order comes one of these great what to put it on cards. Because like we said earlier, people are always asking, what will I put it on? What will I use it on? My first answer is always a spoon, but that's, but we give you all these other great ideas to use on too. And it comes with the best caramel corn recipe on the back.
Okay, our cream is ready. Okay, our cream's ready, so I'm going to move the pot to right here to show you how we're going to incorporate this cream into our egg mixture without scrambling our eggs. So what this is called is we're tempering our egg mixture. We want it to get up to temperature, but we don't want to have, you know, scrambled eggs at the end of this. So reverse this. This is how I roll. So I'm going to get a scoopful of my hot cream, and while I'm whisking constantly, I'm going to slowly pour in the hot cream mixture into my egg mixture. And you can just see I'm just a little bit at a time is just pouring in there.
Wow.
And it's slowly bringing those eggs up to temperature without cooking them.
The cream smells good.
I know, cream smells amazing. I'm like, I could just pour this in my coffee.
Yeah.
So here we go. I'm going to do another scoopful. And I'm whisking the whole time so that it brings the temperature up slowly and it doesn't allow those eggs to scramble. I'll probably do one or two more. When I was at home, I had a 1 cup scooper, and so I did, I think, one of those, and it was enough to fully, so I did, so that should be good. And then, once my eggs have been tempered, just don't like leaving any of those bits of vanilla bean seeds.
Yeah.
I'm now going to take this mixture and doing the same thing, but I'm going to whisk it completely into this pot. So I'm going to pour it, and now I'm going to whisk here as this pours in. Doing the same thing a little bit out of a time so that I'm not scrambling those eggs. And I'm getting a nice steam facial in the process.
Yeah.
And speed is not your friend in this process. You just want to do it very slowly.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
There we go, we remembered it.
Yeah.
This will give your custard a really creamy texture instead of that like scrambled eggy, chunky texture.
Like I said last week, creme brulee is either really good or it's not. I'm guessing they didn't temper their eggs right.
That's right. They didn't take their time.
Yeah, did it too fast.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so we've got it all in there. Just set that right there. And now we're going to give that one quick stir, and then we're going to strain it. And the easiest way, my picture is not beautiful, I'm sorry, but it's functional, as my husband would say. So the next step is to now strain this mixture into our pitcher. I found putting it into a pitcher is a lot easier to pour it into the ramekins than putting it into another bowl. So I am going to strain out any little eggs that might have cooked and the vanilla beans. And the foam will pretty much stay on top.
Yum, it smells very good.
Okay, there you have it. And I think we did a good job not scrambling our eggs because
Yeah, there's no scrambled eggs in there.
there's no scrambled eggs in there. This should make for a really smooth, creamy custard. Okay, so the next part is dividing the cream into, so I'll show you what I've done here. I have 6 ramekins in my dish, my baking dish. I like to lay a paper towel on the bottom of it because once we pour our hot water in here, it helps keep our ramekins in place to keep them from moving around, especially when you're taking them in and out of the oven. It prevents the water from sloshing around and just keeps them stationary. So it's a little cooking tip that my daughter got when she was taking cooking classes, keeping her cutting board. She'd always put a wet paper towel underneath her cutting board and it kept it from sliding around. Well, it's the same concept here. So we're just gonna pour in, and I just start with a little bit and then at least I'll have the same amount, and then I'll go back in and backfill with whatever I have left in my container.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. This Thursday we start our Perry Street Market for anybody that is in the Spokane area, or if you're from Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls, you can drive over there and see me. I will be at the Perry Street Market on the South Hill this Thursday.
I'm so excited for farmers market season. My favorite. Okay, so we're just topping off each one with the leftover cream mixture.
Yum, it smells so good.
Yes. It does smell good.
Yum.
I love this dessert. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so from here, I usually like to put this in my oven before I add the water to it. So I have boiling water in here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it in here on the side, about halfway up on my baking up the sides of the ramekins. So you don't want it to go up to the top, but about halfway is about all you need. But it's easier to pour it in once it's already in the oven so that you're not carrying this really heavy pan full of hot water. So I'm gonna go do that and then we'll come back.
We want to give a big shout out to everybody that went down to Junk Stock in Omaha, Nebraska this last weekend and saw Rob and Cindy Arno. You guys, holy moly, it must have been a very busy time for them because they sold a lot of caramel. But thank you everybody who met Caramel Kitchen there, and we look forward to serving you in the future.
Yeah, next weekend.
Yeah, yeah, Junk Stock is this coming weekend too. It's a 2-weekend show. So if you didn't make it there, make sure you do this weekend.
Okay, so I've got them in the water bath, cooking in the oven. My oven is set at 325 degrees and they're gonna cook between 40 and 45 minutes. The way you know they will be done is when you open it up, it'll jiggle slightly in the middle, and you don't want it to be a super big jiggle. I'm thinking, if you think like Jello, a Jello jiggle. So it's still a little wobbly, but it's firm. And then, when you're done, you'll take them out of the oven when they're done and let them cool to room temperature. And once they're at room temperature, they need to refrigerate it for at least 2 hours, best overnight, up to 4 days. So like I said, they can really be made ahead in advance. So this is what they will look like when they come out. So it's nice and firm. And now we're going to put our yummy, the best part of creme brulee.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move that to the side here. So it's kind of, sugar can when you're gonna put your sugar on here, I'll show you a little trick that I do just to make them look, the end product look pretty. So I take my sugar, I don't know how that got crunchy on the top, I just put it in here. Must have been somewhere humid. Oh, I think it was sitting by the water.
Yeah.
I got a little chunk on top, little crusties. Okay, so I have about a tablespoon of sugar that I'm gonna sprinkle over each ramekin. And the reason why there's 6 here, only 5 here instead of 6 is because we had to taste test one. They're good. I can vouch for it, they're good. And just even it out. Now if any sugar, this is my little trick, if any sugar gets on the side, because there might be some moisture around the edges, I just usually take and just wipe it down, because once you start to burn that sugar, it'll actually burn onto the side of your ramekin as well. And if you want it just to make a nice pretty layer on top and not the edges, you just kind of scrape down those little extra sugar crystals. And there's 2 ways that you can brown your sugar on top. I happen to have a little kitchen torch, and this is the way that I like to do the creme brulee. You can very easily do it in your oven. You just set your broiler on high and get it hot first before you put your pan in, and then put these on the closest rack to your broiler so that it can get the maximum amount of heat, because you don't want it on there for very long, because you don't want to cook your custard all over again. You just want to melt your sugar. But we're just gonna turn our torch on and start melting our sugar. Too close.
It does. It smells like caramel in here.
Mm-hmm. So once that's done, like this is still very scalding hot. You don't want to touch it. Don't like stick your finger in there and like, I mean, you can kind of poke about a little bit. It's really hot. You want it to set up to let the edges are hot, to let the sugar cool, and then it'll form that hard crust over the top. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish with the rest of these and have finished creme brulee. These are best eaten within a couple hours once you put your sugar crust on top. Otherwise, the sugar can, like we saw, get moisture on it again, and it'll start to condensate, and it won't have that nice crunchy texture that is classic with a creme brulee. So there you have it. That's how easy it is to make, really. I mean, it's
way easier than I thought it was going to be.
I know it's a fancy French word, and you sometimes can be intimidating when you have words that seem fancy, but the actual the execution is very easy and very few simple ingredients, and it makes an amazing caramely custard dessert that is one of my favorites.
Yum. So I'm going to read a review from Natalie Martin. She says, absolutely the best homemade caramel sauces I've ever had. I highly recommend the bourbon, chocolate, and the cinnamon vanilla caramel. 10 out of 10 on all. Thank you so much, Natalie. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. Those are good flavors right there too.
Yeah, they are. I personally think they're all 10 out of 10, but oh my gosh. This is not set up, okay? This is really not set up.
Oh, well, Natalie, she won. How about that?
I read her review live and then I picked her name. See? That's the way it works.
She gets double props today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Natalie. Get your reviews in. We'll give you a caramel.
See? It works.
Yeah, it really does.
We aren't making up these reviews.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's what we have for you. Once again, if you guys are a retailer or know of a retailer and you want to see our product in your store or in your area, give us a shout out. We would love to be where you are.
Yeah, definitely. It's not hard. You can, if you're a retailer, you can sign up on our application is on our website right there on the homepage, or you can just give us a call. If you look up our phone number, I'm the one that answers the phone, so you'll be talking to me. So
yeah. See, you can put a face with a name. I love that.
All right.
All right,
we'll see you guys next week.
Have a great rest of your week. And have an amazing Mother's Day, you guys. We have so many great recipes. We've got French toast, we've got pancakes, we've got waffles, we've got creme brulee, fancy desserts. Something for sure any mother will love.
Flan. We've got flan.
We've got flan. Elizabeth wants flan for Mother's Day. All right, guys. Have a great week.